One of the most interesting cards that comes up in consultations with clients is often the prison card. And I always kind of ask myself, what has led that person to feel trapped, stuck, isolated? And I can remember working away one day, and I'm working away with a client. The card comes up, always read the cards at the end of a consultation. There's many reasons why, but I remember this card coming up and Spirit saying to me, you know, are you the jailer of your own prison? And that really struck a chord for me, for my client. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, you know, what has really led this person to feel absolutely stuck, trapped, and isolated? And those words from their grandfather, you know, are you the jailer of your own prison? Remember the impact it had on my client at that point in time. I remember my client sitting there going, oh my God, yes, I am. Because ultimately, sometimes we forget that somewhere along the line, there has been choices or a choice that's been made that has led us to this place. Quite often we forget that if we are in this place of feeling stuck and trapped and isolated, that there's a choice there, that we do have the keys to that prison, and making those choices and the choices that we make each day absolutely starts to shape, co-create what appears in our worlds. And sometimes we feel stuck and we feel trapped because we are fearful of making a choice. So we feel we don't have a choice because ultimately we're scared of acting on what we know. You know, I'm an absolute believer that deep within inside of us, that we have our own inner compass, our own inner guidance system that absolutely knows the answers to many of the dilemmas that we find ourselves in. When someone often says, I don't know, what they're really saying is, I don't know how to. Translating that, I am scared of acting on what I know, so therefore I feel I don't know, I feel I don't have a choice. And what we sometimes need to do when we're in a situation like that is absolutely use the energy of that sense of stillness, that sense of pause, you know, create a pause, create a stillness, and actually just kind of go within and say to yourself, what has led me to this place? How have I arrived in this situation? Even when it's all falling apart, you know, Spirit have this absolute belief. You hear the saying out there, when it's all falling apart, maybe it's actually falling into place, because you know, when you're in this place, there is an absolute opportunity for alignment and realignment. You know, if things are in alignment, they don't actually fall apart. When they're falling apart, it's actually falling into place. It's falling back into alignment. It's one of the hardest, most painful transitions you can go through, but yet it's the greatest, because it means that your life is reshuffling, your life is readjusting, your life is falling back into alignment. But often we don't see it that way. We see it from a place of being disempowered. You know, I always say that the greatest change, you know, many of my clients always in huge transition within their lives, and I always say that the greatest changes normally come through the greatest pain. And sometimes, just sometimes, the pain has to get so great before the change occurs. You know, we are our own worst enemies. You know, we often, human nature, we self-sabotage ourselves. We are our own worst enemies. quite often we are the jailers of our own prison. So those of you that are feeling stuck, those of you that are feeling trapped, those of you that feel you do not know, take a look, just pause, reflect, kind of go within, go in, tap into that inner guidance, that inner compass there, and ask yourself, what choices do I actually have within this situation? You will hear the choices. It's the first feeling that comes up. That's your guidance. That's your deep self talking to you. But often it means courage to act on it. And we go, no, I can't do that. I'm scared. I'm afraid. Then we say we don't have a choice. And that's when we become the jailer of our own prison. Find the choices. They're there. It's not always easy, but there is a choice in there somewhere.